Welcome to the QE PC-ATHON Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and joining me on this impromptu but definitely long overdue PC-ATHON for the Quantum Eraser channel, we have Arwin Chocolate Sane and of course Quantum Eraser himself. How are you all doing first and foremost, gentlemen? Good to have you all.
Hello, hello.
Hello, sir.
Increase the enthusiasm now.
Now.
So, for the audience's benefit, yesterday QE did a live presentation, and the live stream just kept buffering. It was a load of old garbage, and without any disrespect to him, because the presentation still got through after the frame buffer had caught up, but for it losing maybe a minute off the end of the show, it was all well and good after the fact. But if you're actually there watching live, you kind of don't want it constantly buffering, because the computer can't generate the frames that are needed for the live show to run smoothly. So I've been pestering QE for the last few days to just do a GoFundMe, and he hadn't until now. So I found out after the live stream, I'm like, well, have you done the GoFundMe? It's like, we'll wait till next week and we'll do this and we'll do that. And I'm like, well, have you done it? And eventually I got an answer. Yes, I have actually set up a GoFundMe. So right here, right now on this channel, Quantum Eraser channel, there is a link in the info box below this video to Quantum Eraser's GoFundMe. And I'm hoping you will all smash it immediately so we can get this done and dusted and away, and hopefully we'll get more shows from Quantum Eraser actually live, as he's basically explained that he's refusing to do them live until he's got this PC problem sorted out. And given that he's bought a nice shiny new laptop, which I'm sure looks wonderful, it's just not capable of doing the job. So I think first order of the day is to talk about how you felt your actual show went yesterday, given that we're not going to at all address the buffering itself. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want this to be an endless technical show talking about bloody buffering itself.
It was horrific.
I don't want to talk about it. But that's what we're doing. That's what we don't need to talk about the buffering. That's extremely dull.
Are you asking me how I thought it went yesterday?
Presentation itself, I just want to talk about QE in general and your show and what you do and why people would want to give you any of their hard-earned money so that you can actually live stream, which is to say we need to just talk about what it is you do. And one of the things you do is make a show, and you made a show yesterday. If we ignore the very purpose of us being here, which is that show went out as garbage to the live audience, I just want to talk about the show itself and the contents and what it is you do, because that's going to be basically padding for every 5 minutes or so me to go back to the actual GoFundMe campaign and say shout out to blah 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 for smashing the GoFundMe campaign link. But in the meantime, what I need, given that I'm producing this, is you to talk a little bit.
Yeah, and I have no problem with that. I thought the show went well. Everything other than, what was going on my right-hand screen. Because I thought everything was going swimmingly, because it's just a presentation. And it was a presentation on observational studies, field experiments, and natural experiments, the first part of it. And then we went over the natural world, which is a big topic. Everyone keeps bringing it up. I thought the presentation went well, as they all usually do. But since you don't want to talk about the buffering issues, other than that, it went perfectly.
Yeah,
what do you say?
It was a good presentation. I said this on the debate today. It's really nice that the shows on this channel are getting to be more sort of chunked or segmented. I don't know if that's the right word, but certainly more concise and more specific in regards to each piece of information. Because often on a Ballbusters, you'll cover an all-encompassing topic like gravity, whereas sometimes with the Master Science presentation, it's going to be a 3-part presentation to cover it all. But yesterday you did something very different, which was to just take a very specific aspect of it and just detail that. And I really like that. Like I say, I said this again on my show earlier. I liked sitting through, listening to a specific topic just get talked about in a semi-casual way. I know you addressed a Crayon Muncher as well in the show, but you've got to have a bit of variety, right?
Yeah, because the subject material's a little dry, so we got to spice it up. some ways. I mean, it's not artificial at all. But after, if you're sitting here listening to it for an hour, it would be like, for most people, I can only imagine, like eating paint chips or glass shards.
Wow, you're doing great advertisement so far.
So what I'm going to do, and it's I've had this idea for a while, was to do for the long presentations on ball busters, to bust some of the points, the subjects, and the arguments into easily digestible chunks, and put those chunks on my channel, and title them appropriately in what's that called? I can't remember the name of it. Help me out here. They're not toe tags, but it's eluding me right now.
It is toe tags.
Nah, it's not toe tags. They're bite-sized titled presentations, but shorts.
Yeah,
you did them in toe. What's your toe tag presentations in? What's that called? That subject category?
What's the toe tag subject called?
Yeah, the toe tag. It's under a category.
Just call it a short clip.
Nah, it's under something else. Let me find it. It just eludes me right now. But that's my mission, is to take and have short, bite-sized arguments, subjects, so people can go right to them very quickly and just listen to maybe 15 minutes or 30 minutes and get the entire argument, and then that's it. So right. I've had that idea for a while. I got a legal pad up here. Let me check it, with about 30 different ideas on topics. So yeah, that's in the works. So now all I got to do is get the logistics behind me. And that's, I need a new computer. This computer, it's not going to happen. It's a great computer. I bought it 2 months before I thought of having a channel. And it's, like I said, it's a great laptop. It does everything I need it to be. However, now that I have a channel, that 1.7 gigahertz clock speed, it ain't making it. I'm well below OBS standards. I'm lucky the show even goes out. So, and that's what this is for.
But that's the one saving grace from yesterday. If you go back and watch it after the fact, at least it's all rendered perfectly and you can listen to the presentation. There's no interrupting. It's just the live show. And for most people, that's the bit they want. They want to be interactive in the chat, like all the people you've currently got. So shout out to John Watson, Winnie the Brew Bear, and Rob McKenzie, Zanik2, for being in the chat. Thank you very much. There is obviously links to the GoFundMe campaign to beef up the CPU capabilities of John's live stream so that there's no buffering in the future. So shout out to your very first supporter, a very handsome sounding name. I forget it. Hold on, let's just go and have another look.
Yeah, but the photo is horrifying.
Nathan Oakley for supporting the GoFundMe campaign.
Just kidding.
Nathan, you were the first one to super chat my channel. My word, sir.
So yeah. So there is a link in the info box if you want to support the GoFundMe campaign. Obviously, this will go on beyond this live stream, which may only be a short one. We'll see how we get on with our conversational skills for this telethon. If it keeps it, and if we can keep you entertained as an audience, obviously we'll go as long as possible. But if you're watching this after the fact, obviously the link will still be there in the info box below this video to support this campaign and hopefully get a QE live streaming without glitches once more.
Hey, the category I was looking for was playlists.
Playlist. Oh, right. I see what you mean. So you want each of those little segmented bite-sized chunks in a playlist, so you could play them through one at a time, like summarized ballbusters, but each point would have its own beginning, middle, and end. Yeah, that sounds better, because you can't do that on a ballbusters, right? Because it would take 15 hours for like a master science presentation.
Exactly. So just have them in, and I think we talked about this about 8 months ago, right? About putting, various types, the top globetard arguments and how to deconstruct them, and then put them into playlist, and then you could just go right there, right? If you have a question, because it seems like all this information that we've been going over for the past 3.5 years is all over the place. It's all
Hey, John.
segmented. Yeah.
Hey, John, I got a good idea for you. You know how they have like audio books spoken on MP3s or whatever, and people can listen to that? Well, maybe you could do audio books, like self-listening course in how to defeat Globers in any argument.
You know what? That's
In
not a
that
bad
format.
idea.
Exactly.
That's a really good idea. How in the world would I ever do that?
Just record it on a microphone and just think about basically doing your presentations, but all verbally oriented. So you have to, everything you're gonna convey, you're gonna have to convey verbally somehow. And
yeah, but that would be difficult, especially for. I'm just thinking I can only put myself in that position with the audiobook because I'm a visual learner.
Right. Yeah, but that's how you learn. But there's people that's really for them just about the verbal interaction, which is like the primary thing about the whole debate. It's the verbal interaction and the trickery and argumentations, and you can do all of that purely auditory. You don't need visual or most people don't need visuals for that.
Really? Who on this panel doesn't need visuals to learn?
I don't. I'm learning the most from everybody saying it constantly over and over again. And then eventually it really sinks in.
Nah, I couldn't do that, man. Nathan, you don't learn visually?
Of course. Didn't we discuss this on debate earlier when someone was like, videos aren't educational? And I said, well, if you've never seen the Taj Mahal and someone shows you a video of it, that's pretty educational for what the Taj Mahal looks like.
Yeah, but that's architecture. So but this is about conversation techniques and argumentation and reasoning. That's not so much visual. It's more verbal, naturally.
I don't know. If I'm going to do a presentation on the train wreck in the CMB, then I don't know. I think I need the visuals with that.
Yeah, but you may need it, but people that would listen to audiobooks concerning this subject may not need it. Just saying.
Right. I'm following you, Owen. I just can't see it because that would bore me to tears. Not saying that you're not right. You may well be right on this subject, but I couldn't do it. No way. Chaco, could you do it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm both visual and auditory, so I learn either way. It actually helps when there's something visual to concentrate on, but yeah, I can learn just by listening.
But what if you were visually preoccupied, like being on the road, and you don't have time to watch a screen?
I mean, that's what I do all the time. I'm always
John,
busy doing
get it
something.
done. I want the MP3 before Sunday, okay? I gotta listen to something during that week.
MP3 or what? CMB?
No, the audio book.
Let me see what I got here.
You gotta have it finished by Sunday, okay?
Yeah, right. I got 1.7 gigahertz right now, man, and I'm concerned about that. Not audio books. I don't think that would happen, brother. All right, listen. Here's my list right now. So we got the scientific method and reasoning. And we're going to focus on abduction and deduction. Most people think that the scientific method is inference, right? I've been hearing a lot of people say that, not on the actual the flat Earth debates, but in the comments section. I see a lot of people talking about this, but we never talk about it on the shows. I think I did a short presentation not too long ago on it. It was very short, in the middle of one of the hangouts, and it's lost somewhere back there in the clouds. But that redshift, Einstein's field equations, and Newton. We're going to do one on Newtonian mechanics, physics, brainwashing, moon reflections, specular reflections. We're going to go over the God proofs, speed of light, spectroscopy, dating methods, and nature, man-made, and supernatural. We've been concentrating on that for the past 2 weeks. and we did the observational, natural, and field experiments. So this list is only growing longer. And I'm thinking about, these presentations are already done, but I'm going to try and put them in a more bite size. They're already concise, but I'm going to try and put them in more of a bite size, like 15 to 30 minutes. Right. And then all of the spinning ball-tart arguments, like Polaris, the sun changing angular size, those ones, I'm putting them right in bite size to be on playlists, so people just can easily just go, if somebody brings up a topic, they're in an argument or they're preparing for a presentation, just to go there and click it, and they can just watch it for 15 minutes and get a whole load of information. That's what I want to do. How about that?
Yeah, good stuff. So even if you can't necessarily donate to this GoFundMe campaign, it helps extremely if you go to the campaign and just share it. So that's something that comes free. Even if you can't, obviously it's preferable if you go to the GoFundMe campaign and smash it completely. But if you can't, go to it, smash it on Twitter, smash it on Facebook. Not quite as good, but we'll definitely be very grateful if you do share it. So please share the campaign. If nothing else, there is a link to that campaign in the info box, and I'll periodically stick a link to Quantum Eraser's PC-ATHON campaign in the live chat as this show stays live. If you are watching this after the fact, obviously you can still go to the info box and go to the GoFundMe page. This serves as a little advert for exactly that, and as long as we can keep you, the audience who are here live, amused, we'll keep going with this ranty-a-thon, I was about to say. No, that was the last one.
I know, right?
QEPC-a-thon, I should say. We'll keep this going as long as we can, obviously, as long as we can keep you amused. But yeah, obviously go to the QEPC-a-thon GoFundMe page, and at the very least smash the link to Facebook and Twitter, but hopefully actually put in a $5 donation or something of that kind. If you do donate to the GoFundMe campaign, be sure to set the tip to 0. So don't necessarily go with the 15% mandatory tip, because it isn't. You can just go to other, set the tip to 0, and obviously after you've set the amount that you actually want to contribute. But yeah, don't necessarily give the administrator funding for simply administering a free service. Just set it to 0. So go to other underneath your donation amount, set the tip to 0. Other amount,
right.
0.
At least GoFundMe gives the option. Google just takes it.
Yeah, they at least allow you to set it to 0. But yeah, obviously set your amount to what you want to donate, say $10, and then underneath it says what do you want the tip to be. Just set it to other and then 0.
Are you saying that there's other? What do you mean Google does it?
Oh, don't worry about that, Arwin.
Oh, don't worry about Arwin.
He's moaning about the super chat structure.
Oh, I got you. Yeah. Now I'm tracking with you. Yep.
Yeah, AdSense takes 30% of your super chats, but they also give you 70% of the ad revenue. You appreciate that, right, Arwin? Say that again. So you appreciate that they also give you 70% of the ad revenue. So whatever Renault cars are paying, you're getting 70% of that ad revenue if it's played on your channel. You appreciate that, right?
He stepped out, man.
Oh, is he gone? Oh, okay, I'm sure he'll be back. Everyone always moans about YouTube. It's like, they give you everything. They give you the entire platform to broadcast with and put it in front of an audience. You know, I could easily put a different hat on and moan about censorship in our particular subject matter, but it's their platform, their rules, and ultimately they give you a considerable chunk of the advertising revenue that they generate if it's your content that it's played on. So yeah, they're going to take a chunk of the super chats, but you wouldn't get anything if they hadn't actually introduced that system. And what's in it for them to introduce that system if there wasn't anything monetary incentivizing them to do so? They just wouldn't do it. So, you know, it seems perfectly reasonable to me. I've never once moaned about it, but there we go. That's just me.
Now, how much is it? You said you've been in or on YouTube for how long?
11 years.
How much is it? How much has it changed since the beginning? I mean, with all the back channel stuff.
Oh, very little.
Really?
Yeah, fundamentally the same as it always was. There's a few minor changes, but, you know, things like the live chat, that was added after the live streaming. So, the biggest change would be the actual broadcasting section of it, which it didn't used to have. But that's the bit we're talking about, right? Smash that GoFundMe campaign. This is all about live streaming on the Quantum Eraser channel.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
This is running off my computer. If anyone's wondering why, hang on, isn't it supposed to be buffering? No, this is running off my PC.
Yeah, it would be buffering too. Because, after yesterday, I said, enough's enough. I was wondering why the debut show went off without a hitch. For the most part, there was a little bit of herking and jerking, but for the most part, it went off really well. So it gave me like an artificial sense of security with it. And I was like, I'm not worried about this yesterday. And train wreck.
Yeah, so it gave you apparent security?
Yeah, it was security. It's not security, but you can think of it as security.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And that's all I got in the background. John, wait, buffering. What? Warning. Warning, Will Robinson. Yeah. So I don't know what's up with that. But like I said, for the beginning, I was operating on a razor's edge to begin with. So I shouldn't be upset at that. It's kind of my fault, but then it's not. Just the way it went. Just the way the sequence of events went. If it was 2 months ago, this would have been done. I would have had it squared away. But hey, still the content, like Nathan said, the content went out. I just had to strip everything down and then stick with the content. And that's the most important part of it. However, you can't dismiss the logistics behind getting this stuff out. You can't do that. You got to have the right equipment to bring the right content. It's as simple as that.
Right on. So just so it's stressed, and the importance of this stream for anyone coming after the fact or watching live. Big shout out to everyone watching live. I might do a few shout outs to your live chat in a minute, if that's okay by you, QE. But yeah, the purpose of this stream is to raise funds to get a computer that can actually live stream. So John's shiny new laptop will immediately be retired after being purchased, because it's just not up to the job, as we found out yesterday on this channel. So for the time being, I've taken hold of the reins so that it can actually do this stream and get the information out that he's even got a GoFundMe campaign. But after the live debate that went out, I don't know, half an hour ago, whatever it was, I found out that my pestering had been successful, and QE had actually set up a GoFundMe campaign to do this and get the computer that he needs to do his live streams. And when I found that out, I'm like, right, well, let's do it immediately then. Let's let people know, because otherwise no one's ever going to go to a GoFundMe campaign that they don't know about. So if at least this will now serve as an advert, hopefully you'll stick it on one of the playlists so people who come to your channel can at least see that there's some activity in regards to a GoFundMe campaign. It might actually be worth sticking that in the title, Quantum Eraser. Just stick it, rather than PC-ATHON only, just stick on to the end of that GoFundMe campaign, so it's at least overtly obvious what precisely this video is about, and then people know that they're coming hopefully to actually support the campaign. Now, it may not be the case that you have the funds to support the campaign, which is perfectly understandable, but if you can, go to the link in the info box, go to the GoFundMe campaign and share it on Facebook or Twitter. So in the past GoFundMe campaigns, we've had people that have done that. Shout out to David Rakia Gifford, who smashed the super chat. It says, shout the truth loudly, Rakia life. Thank you very much for smashing the Quantum Eraser super chat, David Rakia Gifford. Really appreciate your support. But as I say, you can still support the GoFundMe campaign indirectly by going there and sharing it on Facebook or Twitter. Obviously, we'd all prefer that you smash the link itself and donated. Just make sure you reduce the tip down to $0 by going to other rather than 15% and setting the amount to $0. And then, smash whatever amount you like. But if you can't afford to, that's fine too. Just go and share it. So the link is in the info box, and I will right now stick a link in the chat. So another shout out to Dave Rakia Gifford. Thank you very much for smashing the super chat.
Hey, sir, you want me to put that in the title right now?
Yeah, if you just put it in, it'll automatically update. You don't have to press save or anything. It'll just automatically update it.
Thank you. Yep, I could do that right now. Thank you very much.
But equally important for the Quantum Eraser channel is to have an audience in the first place. So you've got quite a few people here, so I'll see if I can do a few shout outs to those of you who have joined us live. thank you very much for doing so. So big shout out to Alan B and Rob McKenzie, Musicians for Truth. Hey Jason, how you doing? Tom Parker, hello, very good to have you here. Flat Earth Dude. Who else we got? I don't know if I can say that. JSCHELSTRAETE. Hello. Good to have you. Ghost Flame 713. Hello to you also. Thank you for joining us live on this Quantum Eraser PC-ATHON. Roger MC, hello to you too. A few people who are actually on the panel, Chocolate Sane and Arwin, chatting away in there. Keeping the live viewers amused. Thank you very much, guys. Hello, Louis Z. Good to have you in the live chat. Emperor Palpatine. Hello. May the force be with you and all that. Andrews Ace.
Shout out to Ute.
Hey, Ute. Nice to see you. Father of a stolen child. Good to have you. Johnny Ragadoo. Nice to see you too. Hopefully I've shouted out. Burn fat till my stomach is as flat as the earth. One of my Patreons. Good to have you here on the Quantum Eraser channel. Smash that, what's it called, GoFundMe link. Say if you
shout out to Betty Van Velsen.
Yep, Betty's in your chat as well. Cleary's there. Hey Cleary. He's a videographer. Go and subscribe to Cleary.
Cleary, he's a videographer.
Hello. Good to see you. Telex, good to have you. Hopefully I've shouted out everybody who's in your chat. Good to have you on this GoFundMe campaign. So also, big shout out, to Jamal Hicks for supporting the GoFundMe campaign, who's smashed a $25 GoFundMe super chat or whatever you call them. So, hooray, we're well on our way. Thanks to Jamal Hicks. Thank you very much indeed for your support.
Nice.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, Nathan, for taking the reins of this, man. Without you, jeez, oh man. I owe you, buddy.
Technically, it's selfish and self-motivated because I'm having to do this right now, right here, right now, right? If you had a PC, I wouldn't. That's the bottom line here. So you're actually helping me by doing this. So Jamal, I thank you, me personally.
Unbelievable, man. Yeah. You know. Choco, where are you?
Well, one of the things I might suggest in the next few minutes, if you don't mind, QE, is there is now a live audience, right? And you didn't actually give a good showing live. You might as well take advantage of that and, plod through maybe a few parts of that presentation, if you will. No pressure, obviously.
I thought all the parts of that presentation went out well.
Yeah, they did, but I'm just trying to fill the air, make sure the audience is kept happy. That's all I'm doing.
Well, we could do that because there's an important thing. Remember, I wanted to drop anchor on Ballbusters, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the natural world. So I could share my screen. We can go ahead and do that if you want to do that.
Why not? No reason why this start as you mean to go on. Even though this is a PC-ATHON, it might as well be cram-packed with ball-destroying information. Why not?
Let me know when it's up.
Yeah, up you presented.
All right, here we go again. The natural world. It seems that Baltards, they have a slight problem with understanding what the natural world is. So let's break it down for them. Let me show you something. So, Merriam-Webster, natural world, all the animals, plants, and other things existing in nature and not made or caused by people. That's pretty clear. There's a clear juxtaposition in this definition. Let's try another one. Oxford dictionaries, existing in or derived from nature, not made or caused by humankind. There's another juxtaposition between nature and humankind. You don't say. Let's try another one. Something that comes from nature rather than being man-made. Seems like these guys are all singing the same tune for some reason. And Cambridge. From nature, not artificial or involving anything made or caused by people. So, as we can see here, there's a clear distinction between something artificial, something man-made, and nature, right? We all know this. Let's get the definition of natural science. It's the intellectual and practical activity encompassing the systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. This is the big "and" citation. We were trying to discover what "and" meant a few weeks ago. So what does "and" really mean? Well, we don't know. Just let me tell you something. Physical and natural as opposed to man-made or supernatural. So it's not just a dichotomy, it's a trichotomy. Example, can you please identify the non-physical natural? Anyone, please. I'd like to see the non-physical natural. I mean, this is non sequitur. So physical denotes chemical formula structure, charge, mass, momentum, or spin, or millielectron volts, kcals, or kilojoules. In other words, the physical is denoting matter or energy. That's what physics is, the study of matter and energy. And then we have natural, denotes existing in or derived from nature, not made or caused by humankind. We just went over it above. So here is the true dichotomy. And let this sink in. We have the supernatural, the physical and natural, and man-made. Now, what sets the supernatural apart from these two guys down here on the bottom? Well, both of these have physicality. That means that they have inherently charge, mass, momentum, or spin, millielectron volts, kcals, and kilojoules, or chemical formula and structure. Both of these have those traits, whereas the supernatural doesn't. Information, time, and thoughts. There is no physicality here. And I challenge you to give me physicality. That is, for any of these above, I could put another 6 down here. I thought I'd keep it short. Please identify for information, time, and thoughts. I need the chemical formula structure, charge, mass, momentum, or spin, or millielectron volts, kcals, or kilojoules for any of these. Please. If you can't do that, then these fall in the supernatural category. Supernatural meaning above nature. Super prefix means above. And of course, natural, we already know what that means. Now, how do we differentiate these two guys? Right? Because both are physical. I can give you a chemical formula, structure, charge, mass, momentum, or spin, a millielectron volts, kcals, or kilojoules for all these, can I? So what differentiates them, right? Well, these are man-made while these are natural. It's really just that simple. And what we're concentrating here, why we're providing the distinction between these, is because of the first step of the scientific method. It says observe a natural phenomenon. In natural science, that phenomenon has to be natural, right? That's the effect. That's the dependent variable. When we talk about natural, that's what we're stressing. Okay? Let's move on. We'll go over it again real quick. Natural world, all the animals, plants, and other things existing in nature and not made or caused by people. Existing in or derived from nature, not made or caused by humankind. Natural, something that comes from nature rather than being man-made. And natural, from nature, not artificial or involving anything made or caused by people. Just for argument's sake, let's entertain the Sferfer's argument and allow man-made objects as natural phenomena, i.e. the dependent variable or the effect, and see how it shakes out. But first, let's understand what they're talking about when they say science. A law, and this is from Kennesaw State, a law describes what nature does. A theory explains how nature works. Very important distinction here. There's a big difference between explaining the how and why and describing the what or the is, right? Having said all that, what's going to happen up here, brain surgeons, if we allow man-made objects into the scientific method? Am I going to run into lawnmower theories and toaster oven laws? How about pendulum theories or pendulum laws? Or bowling ball theories and bowling ball laws? When you check into Google Scholar, are you overwhelmed by the amount of papers discussing these topics? No. If you thought that, you'd fail 5th grade general science. It's just that simple. Furthermore, the entire goal of the scientific method is to elucidate and reveal cause and effect relationships. That's what it's all about. Well, if we have the effect, the dependent variable, the natural phenomena observed as being man-made, then why do we need to conduct an experiment? Because we're looking for the cause of that effect. Well, we already know the cause. It's man. We can all go home. That's how ridiculous all this stuff is. Why would we need to scientifically investigate them then? Well, we wouldn't. It's ridiculous on its face. Let's keep it simple. 2-step algo. Step 1 is the inquiry concerning A, nature, or B, a man-made object. If it's B, then it isn't a valid scientific inquiry. And we just went over the reasons why. If it's A, we continue to step 2. Step 2 is the inquiry, i.e. effect. A, cause and effect question, or B, a what is question. If it's B, then it isn't a valid scientific inquiry. Why? Because we're looking for an effect. We're not attempting to describe what is. If it's A, then proceed to the first step of the scientific method. That's simple. So, after I gave this presentation, I got carpet bomb barrage by our friendly neighborhood astronomer, chat comment troll Charlie. And he goes by the avatar Cosray. I've had a lot of dealings with this crayon muncher. He's from the old erectile dysfunction ED 2.0 days.
Okay, just before you get into Charlie, this is where I'll just take a quick cue to say the purpose of this stream is to actually raise a set amount of money, set $600, so that QE can actually live stream himself. So these wonderful presentations that are coming through smooth as butter via my computer would be much better if they came via the hand of QE himself. So to that end, having had a bit of a disastrous live stream yesterday, he has, after a bit of pestering from me, set up a GoFundMe to do exactly that. So upon finding that out, that's why we're immediately live streaming Hell or High Water, even if I've got to do it, to hopefully raise that funds. Or those funds. So already a shout out to an anonymous funder for giving us $25, or giving QE's fund GoFundMe campaign $25. So he's up to $45 so far. I'll keep spamming the link. It is in the info box below this video if you're watching after the live stream has gone out. So be sure to smash that link. If you can't afford to actually support the campaign itself, it'd be wonderful if you can just go to the GoFundMe campaign and share the link on Facebook or Twitter. Do you want to carry on, QE?
I'll carry on. Do you want me to stop here? Does anyone have any comments on the panel about what I just went over?
The cause of man-made objects is man making them.
Profound. It took a long time. I'm not calling you out here, Arwen, but remember we had discussions about this probably when I first started. I brought this topic up, and you had some issues with this, but I think you've come around and seen the light. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, mostly.
Cool. No problems?
But it's very technically specific, the whole concept, and that wasn't all that clear at first. So
right, and that could have been partly my fault for assuming a lot of things and not making it clear. So I can take some responsibility for that. It's just real easy, folks. It's the natural phenomenon that we're concentrated with here, being either natural or man-made. All experiments are man-made. We're going to see this goofiness with what Charlie brought up, and you'll hear the same echoes from the retard crowd. Some of his same objections. They're really actually non sequitur and quite proby. But that it just comes down to as simple as that. What is the natural phenomena? It has to be natural in natural science, because the natural phenomena is the dependent variable. It is the effect. It's really just that simple. Any questions, concerns? You guys want me to move on?
I know you just said it, but I was actually going to say before you said it, if you can go over that again, because it seems like a lot of globalists don't realize that when they're looking at a natural phenomenon, they're observing that they already have their dependent variable. But it seems like they want to assert things like Cavendish, where they say things fall down, but then you don't have that in your experiment, which is why it's not an experiment. So I don't know if you want to go through that again real quick, just to let people know that, because it's like people get confused by that, I think.
Well, you have to go in a stepwise fashion. Your natural phenomena cannot come out of the experiment. It goes in steps. The first step is observe a natural phenomena. You don't start with step 3 or step 4, experiment.
Just do a quick shout out to Flat Earth Dude, who's sent you a $50 PayPal donation. So
wow,
thank you very much indeed, Flat Earth Dude.
Unbelievable, man. Thank you very much. And like I said, all these funds will go directly into that computer, which, by the way, has a clock speed of 3.6 gigahertz up to 4.0 gigahertz. So it should be a breeze.
So shout out to Sleeping Warrior, who's essentially gone through the technical specs that QE needs to get, hence him knowing all of this data. Anyway, let's carry on with the much more important and purpose of this GoFundMe campaign, giving you the ability to do precisely what you're doing now, and I'm interrupting by encouraging people to either go and smash the share link on the GoFundMe campaign, or actually go and contribute to the campaign, but be sure to set the tip to 0 by going to other rather than 15% and setting the dollar value to 0 after you've set the amount that you want to donate, if you want to donate. If you don't, just go and share it. Smash it on PayPal, on Twitter or Facebook. Thank you very much. Feel free to continue. Sorry for all the interruptions. That's just how it's got to be on a QE PC-ATHON, I'm afraid. Interruptions to encourage people to actually serve the purpose of the stream, which is to generate funds for you GoFundMe. So you're just going to have to tolerate it in this instance, I'm afraid, QE. But in this case, I'm going to actually shut up on this occasion. Feel free to carry on.
Now, this isn't an interruption, and you can do it as many times as you want. It's a gift eruption. That's right. It's a gift eruption, sir. So there is no problem. So, yeah, let's continue. After I went through this presentation on ballbusters, like I said, I was carpet bomb barraged by our friendly neighborhood self-professed degree holder in astronomy, Charlie, who goes by the name of Cosray. Like I said, he's been around since the beginning. Since I came in, I can remember seeing this avatar not too much vocally on Hangouts. The only time I ever heard him was on ED 2.0, which we affectionately called erectile dysfunction. And what was really funny, the people watching that show on a daily basis would be the same number as there was on the panel. So if you had 6 members on the panel, there'd be 6 people watching. If there were 10 members on the panel, well, there'd be 10 people watching. So what they do is they would pull up the watch page, put it on mute, and watch themselves talk to each other. I mean, these guys, they're morons. You had Cordis. I don't know where that crayon muncher's gone. I haven't seen him in a while. I don't know if you guys remember this guy. Ad Blocker. Do you guys remember him? He was on there.
I remember.
Yeah. Ad Block. I don't know where he went. What was that guy's name that was always on there? Was he from Czechoslovakia?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like a Viking-looking thumbnail.
Yeah. What was his name? Is Betty in the chat?
Betty is in the chat.
Hey, Betty, what was his name? You know who I'm talking about.
I'll let you know if she comes back to you.
Yeah. And of course, Georgie
Tatanka. Thor.
Yeah, Thor.
Yeah, shout out to Betty. Thanks, Betty.
I wonder where that crayon butcher went to. I haven't heard him in a while, but you get the idea. Rumpus would make a cameo on there every now and again, and they just talk back and forth amongst each other in between munching crayons. So Charlie, after this presentation on Ballbusters, decided to carpet bomb barrage the comments in the chat section. And here's what he said. I'll just go through them real quick. And they're typical ball-tard comebacks to this argument. You'll see how stupid they are. All the parts of a shoe are natural. So a shoe is natural, yet the claim is that a shoe is not natural. Now, I'm not going to go through all these, man. I'm just going to take them one at a time. So all the parts of a shoe are natural. Immediately, this is a straw man because the argument or claim isn't what a object is made of. It's whether it is natural or man-made. So the parts is a straw man. And parts of a shoe are natural. I'm wearing the same shoes I wore last night are my Nike running shoes. Are you saying these Nike running shoes are natural? Let's see. 70% of these shoes are rubber. Is rubber natural? 17% is plastic. Is plastic natural? And the rest of it is ethylene vinyl acetate. Is that natural? I don't think so. His next comment. The quantum eraser experiment seems man-made. Every single experiment that's ever been done in the history of man are all man-made. So what's your point here? Or are you saying since experiments are natural, then they're not part of science? Is that what you're going for here? Well, what we've said was the natural phenomena observed has to be natural. I don't think many people are observing experiments conducted by nature for the dependent variable. I'm just spitballing here, but I don't think that's the case. My word. It's the next comment. It sounds like QE has decreed. So I've decreed something that you can't have any man-made components in science. No, that's not what I said. I didn't decree it. You're not going to quote me saying that, Crayon Muncher. What I said was the observed natural phenomena, the dependent variable, or the effect must be man-made. So all this is nonsense. Here we go. And that's what he's talking about. So all equipment is not allowed. No microscopes, no chemicals, no telescopes. You're a clown. Next comment. The quantum eraser experiment, here we go again, is completely man-made. Yeah, shocking. Duh. So is not physical and natural at all. It's physical, definitely. Some parts could be natural, but who really cares? It's not your observed phenomena. Next one, I'm very puzzled by all of this, as essentially all of quantum physics experiments involve man-made experiments and conditions. How is that possible? Well, it's possible because all experiments are man-made. That's how it's possible, Charlie. Charlie, tricks are for kids.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, Chocolate. Here's the next. I'll just give it one last comment. He made about 10 of these. I only pulled out a small section of them. The point here is that QE has now said that the quantum eraser experiment, which is man-made, is not usable. Same gibberish, just saying it over and over again. In summary, this clown thinks that experiments, because they're man-made, violate the scientific method. Right? This is I think non sequitur arguments, actual ones, are blushing with this. That's how stupid this is. His belly laughing appeals above are so stupid, like I said, language isn't equipped to fully encapsulate it. Mr. Magoo astronomer, when we provide distinction between man-made, physical, and natural, and the supernatural, we are referring to the natural phenomena observed. Step one of the scientific method, i.e. the dependent variable, the effect. The effect dependent variable has to be natural in natural science, physics, you daft muppet, because when we're testing experiment for the cause, independent variable, of that natural effect, it can't be man that caused it. Why? It wouldn't be physics, number one, natural science, and number two, we wouldn't need to test it for the cause because we already know the cause. Man, do you get it? Unbelievable. Next block of instruction, how to breathe on Tuesday afternoons. Thank you for explicitly demonstrating what an epic clinical level Dunning-Kruger pretender clown Muppet astronomer you truly are.
So
any comments, questions?
No, it's my turn to plug. So the purpose of this stream is to raise funds so that QE can actually go live without having a horrible, jittery, nasty, buggy stream for the live participants. So currently this stream's running via my computer, which is easily adequate to cope with this, so that we can actually have the GoFundMe in the first place. So after pestering QE to set up the GoFundMe, he has actually obliged, so the least I can do is actually promote it on his channel with this stream. So that's the purpose of the stream. I've spammed the link in the live chat if you want to actually support the GoFundMe campaign, or at the very least share it on Facebook or Twitter. If you do support the campaign, set the tip to 0, go to contribution amount other, and then just set the dollar amount to 0. And then smash the amount that you want to actually contribute. Or as I say, smash it on, I keep going to say PayPal, smash the link to the GoFundMe campaign on Facebook or Twitter. That would also be greatly appreciated. Obviously share this show as well. It's going to be hopefully rampacked with a couple of presentations from QE so that you can see exactly precisely what it is we are trying to raise funds for, so that this can continue without me having to be here in a completely different time zone to actually run the show without it being glitchy. So hopefully you'll all contribute, either if you are in the live stream now, hopefully you'll smash one of those links, or if you're watching this after the fact, as obviously this will serve as an advert for that GoFundMe until the fairly modest amount of $600 is raised. So massive shout out to the anonymous donor who already smashed that, and hopefully we'll shout out anybody else, including Flat Earth Dude, who I think has sent it via PayPal, but that's just as good. There's also a PayPal link in the info box below this video.
Hey sir, speaking of glitches, am I the only one that's hearing that mic? You got some mic problems? Choco, do you hear that? Hello?
Nah, I don't hear anything weird, no.
Could just be you.
Can't be my stuff, man.
That roll top desk.
Because I'm hearing your mic pop in and out, get louder and lower. Jeez.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's all tickety-boo my end as far as I'm concerned.
Hey, let's pick up. We can also do that first part of that presentation because I think it has some merit here.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, one last plug, if you do want to support this, the whole point of these presentations on this particular live stream is actually so we can do a GoFundMe campaign, as I've just said. So smash the link in the info box or in the live chat. I will shout people out. If the presentation's going, I'll shout you out via the chat itself rather than live. But once the presentation's concluded or there's an appropriate gap, I'll shout you out on there as well. So yeah, go ahead. I've got you up. You presented.
All right. We're going to go over natural experiments, observational studies, and field studies. Like I said in the last presentation, I think I can't say for sure. I've done a presentation, obviously, on natural experiments because we had Gem Panda with the birds humping natural experiments. But I think I did a presentation a while ago. It might have been on Cathexis's channel, and maybe a spot start on one of the flat Earth debates with the rest of these bozos. But I consolidated and I put them all into one presentation, and we're going to go over what a joke these guys are when we're talking about experiment.
But before you do, we're going to shout out Dave Rakia Gafford for smashing the super chat. Who sent you another $99.99. QE is God's messenger of truth. Rakia life. Massive shout out to Dave Rakia Gafford for smashing the super chat.
Dave, dude, you've been smashing that super chat like it's unbelievable. I thank you, sir. I appreciate it very much. It's going directly into that computer. So I don't know what to say, man.
Shout out to Rakia. He's awesome.
All right, sir. Let's establish what an experiment is first, just briefly. We're not going to go through everything because we can do this rather quickly. So an experiment is a hypothesis test. Let's go with Luhr's, e.g., Introduction to the Theory and Application of Molecular and Quantum Mechanics. The final arbiter of truth in science is experiment. The final arbiter. If you don't have experiment, you don't have science, in other words. From Professor Shankar, Chair of Physics at Yale, the only way things change in physics is experiments. Everything is based on experiment. That's the only way we change our mind. I don't know how you can get any more clear than that. So, what constitutes an experiment? From Penn State University, there should be 3 categories of variables in every experiment: dependent, independent, and controlled. The dependent variable, as we discussed in the last presentation, the effect, the result, the prediction, your naturally observed phenomena from step 1. The independent variable is your cause of that effect, that which is varied or manipulated by the scientist to produce the effect. And your controlled variables, these are held constant so as not to confound the test. Very easy, very simple. We learned this in 5th grade. It hasn't changed. From the Institute of Physics, when planning an investigation, students need to identify the variables that they consider significant and then select the ones they want to look at for what? Cause and effect. If possible, any other variables that will affect the outcome of the experiment need to be kept constant during the investigation. Makes sense, right? It's the same thing Penn State said above. Independent, dependent, control variables. So, on to our natural experiments. Oh, they got that word in there. That must be an experiment and natural. Ooh, that's a double whammy. You're done, QE. Observational studies and field experiments. Well, let's take a look at natural experiments first. Let's go right from their alma mater wiki. Natural experiments are a different type of quasi-experiment design. What the hell is that? Used by researchers. It differs from person by treatment in a way that there is not a variable that is being manipulated by the experimenter. So all of a sudden, right away, we have this word. This is a problem. And what does this mean? That there is not a variable that is being manipulated by the experimenter? Huh? That's the independent variable. But wait a second. In every experiment, we need an independent variable, right? That's what Penn State said. That's what the Institute of Physics said. What's the problem? We don't have an independent variable in natural experiments. That's one problem. It's probably why they call it quasi, right? What does quasi mean? Well, from Oxford Dictionary, it means seemingly, apparently. This word's popping up everywhere. Apparently, but not really. Synonyms for quasi from Merriam-Webster: pseudo, not real or genuine; sham, spurious. So you got some big problems right here, Mr. Natural Experiments. You're not an experiment. Let's go to Craig P. from the Journal of Epidemiology and Community Health. They define it. The term natural experiment lacks an exact definition. Okay, alarm bells, red flags should be going off, right? You mean you have the phrase natural experiment, but you don't know what it is exactly? That's pretty interesting. Many variants are found in the literature. The common thread in most definitions that exposure to the event or intervention of interest has not been manipulated by the researcher, i.e. read no viable independent variables, that equals no experiment. So, like we've seen above, there's no independent variable here. That means there's no experiment. There are important areas of public health policy, this is epidemiology, such as suicide prevention, air pollution control, public smoking bans, and alcohol taxation, where natural experiment studies have already contributed a convincing body of evidence. We have some problems here. Suicide prevention, air pollution control. Are these guys, along with public smoking bans and alcohol taxation, frigging physics, chemistry, biochemistry, or biology? Huh? No? Then it's not natural science. This is a joke, folks. A joke. This is going to be quick for observational studies. Observational studies are not scientific experiments. From Hinkelmann, Klaus, and Kempthorne, from Introduction to Experimental Design. Observational studies are not experiments. Well, that solves it quite quickly, right? By definition, observational studies lack the manipulation required for becoming experiments. Lack of manipulation, that means this one doesn't have independent variables either. And to have an actual scientific experiment from above, from the Institute of Physics in Penn State, they said that you must have an independent variable. Too easy, right? We can end this. We could just stop right here with observational studies. And our last one, door number 3, field studies are not scientific experiments. From their alma mater again. However, like natural experiments, which are not experiments, field experiments suffer from the possibility of contamination. Way to get a load of this, folks. Experimental conditions can be controlled with more precision and certainty in the lab. Yet some phenomena, for example, voter turnout in an election, cannot be easily studied in a lab. So what are they telling you here? So is voter turnout physics? Morons. Here's more. From Oxford Handbooks regarding field experimentation. Field experimentation represents a departure from laboratory experimentation. Oh, really? A departure, huh? Let's see how much it departs from it. Some examples of field studies. Habaneros et al., for example, conduct experiments in which African subjects win prizes depending on how quickly they can open a combination lock. The random manipulation is whether the person who instructs them is on the use of such locks is a co-ethnic or member of a different ethnic group, or, this is my addition, has a different favorite color. This is a joke, folks. If you think this is natural science, you need to get lobotomized. The next one, from the Journal of Politics, our next field experiment. From Chin, Bond, and Jiva, 2000, study of the way in which 69 congressional staffers made simulated scheduling decisions, an experiment designed to detect whether scheduling preference is given to groups associated with a political action committee. That's riveting right there. Whole bunch of physics in that. My word. So they seem to want to double down here. This is not only a field experiment, it's a natural field experiment. From the American Political Science Review. Gerber, Carlin, and Bergen, 2009, randomly assign newspaper subscriptions prior to an election and conduct a survey of recipients in order to gauge the extent to which the ideological tone of different papers manifests itself in the recipient's political opinions. This is riveting. I'll wait for the movie. Is this science? Is this experiment? I don't think so. This is a joke. So what we have here are brain dead ICD-10 F72 codes, typing experiment in a search engine because they've heard it on this channel, and mindlessly parroting abject nonsense because they haven't the first clue as to what they're looking at. Comments, questions?
Well, no, it's just my opportunity again to plug the reason for this stream. So if you're watching this live, the purpose of this stream is to do a GoFundMe campaign to raise funds so that these live streams can continue at the hand of QE himself rather than the assistance he's getting currently from me. So I'm actually running this stream on behalf of Quantum Eraser on the Quantum Eraser channel, but he ran a stream a couple of days ago and it didn't go quite as well for the live audience. Hopefully this is all going swimmingly for all of you who are in the live audience. Now I have had another GoFundMe contributor, although it doesn't seem to be showing up on my screen. Oh, it has, finally, perfect timing. So massive shout out to Brian Longagan. I hope I'm saying your name correctly, but thank you very much indeed for supporting the GoFundMe campaign. Now, obviously, on the GoFundMe campaign, if you do go to the site, there is a link in the info box, and I've been periodically shouting out those people who are supporting the GoFundMe campaign to get a stream-worthy computer for Quantum Eraser's live streams. There is also a share button, so go to the Quantum Eraser GoFundMe campaign, click the share button in the top right-hand corner, or if you indeed you do go to the donate button, just set the tip from 10% or whatever it starts at to other, and then just set the amount in the box itself to 0, so that you're not actually paying any administrative fees for donating to the GoFundMe Quantum Eraser fund to get him streaming. So that's the purpose of this stream. Massive shout out again to Brian Longagan and Jamal Hicks for smashing the GoFundMe campaign, and also to David Rakia Gafford for smashing the super chat in this live stream. But as I say, if you are watching this after the fact, just go to the info box. There's where the link to the GoFundMe campaign is if you do want to share it on Twitter or Facebook, or indeed actually contribute. So we're up to about $78. It'd be great to get up to $100 before this live stream closes out, but obviously these things can't go on forever. But as long as we can keep you entertained. We're also joined by Chocolate Sane and Arwin, who haven't said a great deal so far. Hopefully we'll hear a bit more from them as this GoFundMe campaign QE PC-ATHON continues.
Anything on natural experiments, observational studies, or field experiments, guys? Anything there? Have you heard these terms or phrases before?
Bird thumping.
I think the word you used, I forget which one of these guys said it, but a departure. I think that stands out in my mind because it seems like these guys are really doing a grand departure from actual science. I mean, if you're thinking of voter turnout, counting voter turnout is science, then I think there's something wrong with you. I don't understand how that's science, right? How are these guys doing any type of science if you're not manipulating cause of an effect? I don't get it. It's pretty sad, honestly.
Just be prepared, because these phrases and terms, you're going to hear them again. They're going to come up because the Baltards have no way out. Like I said, they've been hearing us talking about experiment. It's taken them a while to get this far. I'm surprised that it didn't come up sooner, right? Because all we stress is, well, we stress a lot with hypotheses, but hypotheses are just the queen. They give birth to the king. Experiment. I'm surprised it's taken this long for the subjects to come out on the circuit. But the brain dead evolutionists were doing this back in the day. I've had this sort of sectioned off in my files for them, but I've been hearing little birdies saying these terms. They haven't gone into, see, that's what they do. It's just like with spectroscopy, you know, they can't even say the word right. I heard them butchered. They can't even say the term right. But their argument or their comeback or their refutation is just to say the word, right? Well, yeah, we know what the sun is. Spectroscopy. Okay, that's a word. Are you done? Do you even know what it means? Right? So they do the same thing with these. They'll say observational studies, natural experiments, and field experiments. They'll just put that out there. And if you're not ready for it, then you're going to say, oh, they got me because you have no background with it. I'm giving you the background with it. So here's another important thing that I wanted to say on the show, not on this show, but on my first debut show, is I'm not doing these presentations for my health, right? I'm doing them for you out there in the audience. I want you to make them your own. I'm not entertained. This isn't entertainment. This is education. I want you to take these and make them your own and teach people to do that and make them their own. If you don't understand it, go over it again and again and again. If it's still causing problems, then get in contact with me personally. It's very easy. You can do it in the chat. You can get in touch with Nathan. You can email me. You can go on Discord. You can contact me. Just ask me, and we can go into some depth into it. No problem. Right? But I'm not just doing this just to do it. Right? Just to put this up here for people to watch, and then that's it. No, I want you to adopt this stuff and use it. Okay? And it's not for the seasoned veterans either. It's for Joe Newbie off the street that's asking questions, saying, hey, I've heard something about the flat earth and this science thing, or what you saying is true. Yeah, this channel's for you, because I'm going to be going over and over the basic fundamentals all the time. If I get off base, I have people to get me right back in line. Okay, so make these arguments part of your own. They don't have to be the exact thing. I don't care if you take this and say the same thing. That's fine. I'm not going to have a problem with it, because that's why I'm doing it. Okay? All right. Any questions on that?
No, I don't think that truly epic plea is going to get any better. So it's just going to be my opportunity to give one last plug to this GoFundMe campaign. So with that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this after the fact and you are not in the live stream itself, then be sure to smash the GoFundMe link, and a massive shout out to Jamal and Brian for already smashing that that I keep going to call it a PayPal link. It's because of Flat Earth Dude smashing the PayPal link, but also a massive shout out to Dave Racky Gifford, who smashed the super chat during this live stream. But yes, if you're watching this after the fact, obviously go to the info box below this video, smash the PayPal link, and hopefully we'll get Quantum Eraser well on his way to being able to live stream long into the future with a decent enough PC setup. So I've been Nathan Oakley, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next video.